Long live the workers! Long live the workers! Long live the workers! Long live the workers!
This brother here speaking next is Chris Almeida, treasurer of Teamsters Local 808. And this brother was actually leading the fight to keep the staple workers here in New York City. It was about 1998, or you correct me when, and that's when we met him. He was leading that fight. They didn't want those workers to go down to Mexico, where they shut down the staple plant in Queens, and they wound up going to Mexico, where I believe they were paying them 50 cents an hour. Today they're lucky if they're making 45 cents an hour. So anyway, here's Chris Almeida.
None of these trade agreements have brought about a win for the working class. This has been the banker's dream, it's been corporate America's dream, but it hasn't been the dream of the workers. He talked about swing line. Swing line is the #1 stapler manufacturer in the world probably right now. They moved in a space of 10 years. They were in Long Island City for 50, 60 years. They moved in 10 years from Long Island City to Mexico and from Mexico to China. So even the workers in Mexico wasn't cheap enough for them. They moved to China. This is it sounds cliche, I guess, because so many people say it's a race to the bottom. But to the bottom for the working class. They don't want you to have a pension. They don't want you to have health care. They don't want you to have a future where you can afford a house or you can buy a car. They want you at the very bottom. They actually are pushing back to some form of enslavement of some sort.
Right now in the city of New York, 1 in 5 children has asthma. Here we have situations where in Flint, Michigan, children are drinking water that's polluted with lead, or in Newark. What the TPP would do is actually gut every environmental law that we currently have. Basically, as people have said, NAFTA on steroids. Right now, TransCanada is actually suing the United States government and its people for $15 billion, saying that the American people and U.S. government did not have the right to oppose the tar sands. Imagine if the tar sands had passed and they were building the tar sands. My God, the level of water that would have been polluted. And if we think 1 in 5 kids having asthma is too much, even worse, it would have accelerated global warming. And of course, destroyed so much of nature and our natural forests. So this is what's going on right now to NAFTA. Imagine how much worse it's going to be with the TPP. If you really care about fresh air, water, and the environment, then we must fight against the TPP.
En solidaridad con los trabajadores de Estados Unidos que están en contra del TPP, un acuerdo que han llamado NAFTA en esteroide. Y los resultados de ese acuerdo es que abre todo el mercado de Estados Unidos y las otras naciones y quita las leyes de esas naciones no son válidas frente a ese acuerdo. Y nosotros aquí decimos que ese tipo de acuerdo es ilegal y inconstitucional, porque ninguna nación debe dar sus leyes para que un acuerdo internacional decida lo que pasa en su nación.
Okay, thank you.
How you doing?
Brothers and sisters, and I'm very clear when I say brother and sister, and that is people with a unity of purpose, and that purpose is to make America a better place for everyone. But we're standing here all of the years that the unions supported the government, and I'm talking about Vietnam, places like that where they killed millions under the lie that they were protecting freedom. No, they went to steal Vietnamese wealth like they stole indigenous people's wealth, like they stole slave wealth, and everybody enjoyed it.
If we don't fight for our rights as working people, who is going to do it for us? Thank you.
Well, hi everybody. I'm here on behalf of Trade Justice New York Metro. We're in particular fight against the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, There's also another super secret one that's even more secret than those, called the Credit Services Agreement, which is basically the green list of finance capital. So why are these things happening? I mean, it doesn't make any sense on the surface, does it? Governments get together and they say, let's give away our sovereignty. Let's give away all our ability to regulate corporations, to protect the economy, to protect people's jobs, and make it as easy as possible for corporations to ship their jobs overseas to the countries with the lowest wages and the weakest environmental laws and the weakest safety standards and labor standards. Now, why would anybody do that? I mean, this doesn't make any sense, does it? Well, if we look at it from the standpoint of people, of course it doesn't. If we look at it from the standpoint of what does multinational capital want, then it makes a lot of sense, and that's how we have to look at it. The governments have been captured by multinational capital, and what they're doing is saying to the governments, look, we can't keep profits rising doing things the way we have to do. We have to cut our costs. We have to cut labor costs to the bare minimum. We can't afford to protect the environment. We can't afford safety equipment. We can't afford to protect drinking water. You gotta do this for us. So, who owns the government? Who controls the government? It's multinational capital.
And greetings, everyone. My name is Nina Macapinlock, and I'm the Northeast Regional Coordinator of Bayan USA. Bayan USA is an alliance of progressive Filipino organizations fighting for the genuine democracy and national liberation of our home country. We stand here with you today to condemn the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. The Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement will not serve the interests of the working and poor peoples of the Asia-Pacific region. Despite the rhetoric that the U.S. is imposing of development for the third world, it is quite the opposite. We must ask, development for whom? Definitely not for the masses.
All new batteries.
We must only look at the example of NAFTA, which basically impoverished the rural peasantry of Mexico, driving thousands of people to migrate out of their home country. Can you imagine what the undocumented population will look like once the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement is approved and enforced? So we must stand against the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, and despite the fact that our administration, which is more progressive allegedly, says that they are against U.S. imperialism and is calling for the end of militarization in the Philippines, the Duterte administration is still seeking to join the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. So we must let them know that the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement is an example of economic imperialism. It is a free trade agreement that is one half of the U.S. pivot to Asia. Militarization is only one half. The other half is these free trade agreements that are being imposed.